Welcome back to the van build. So today I'm working on some insulated curtains for the front and the back of the sleeping compartment that will keep us warm when we go camping in the spring and fall. The fabric I'll be using for these curtains is called Radiantex. It's made for coat linings and it's a polyester backing with a mylar film on the front side. The mylar acts as a radiant heat barrier, reflecting the heat back into the space. And I'm really pleased to say I found my good scissors. For the back curtain, I'll be using the edge of the plastic trim to hold it up. So to make a pattern, I'm going to clip this fabric and trace along the edge. Then I can use the fabric to cut out the back curtain. For the front curtain, I'm using the same pattern that I worked out when making the black privacy curtain. Instead of a simple overlap like I did for the blackout curtain, I'm going to put a middle panel that can be looped up if we want to use a space heater. To apply the bias tape, open out the shorter side and pin the open edge to the edge of the fabric. Making neat folds at the corners. I was planning to use white bias tape to finish the raw edges, but when I went to the fabric store I saw they had silver bias tape. It was the same price as the regular tape, so we're going to be going full space age look. To sew it on, I'll be following this first crease here. Now that that is done, we turn it over and we pin it down over the raw edge. I'm going to sew it down close to the edge of the tape. I'm going to sew the tape onto all the edges except the top edge, which I'm going to do last. On the edges which will overlap with the middle section, I'm going to sew in some small pieces of metal. This is the same strapping I used for the curtain rail, but any thin metal will do, so long as it's steel and magnets will stick to it. I'm going to sew little pockets and poke the metal pieces in and sew them in as I go along. Now I'm going to lay out the pieces so I can line them up to pin them together. I've marked the center of the middle piece, as well as the points where it will overlap with the side pieces. I'm going to pin these pieces together and do the same for the other side. Now I'm going to pin the bias tape onto all the layers at once and sew them together. This silver tape is very pretty, but it doesn't seem very strong. And my experience with these rare earth magnets is that they can tear through thin fabrics quite easily. So I'm going to be putting each of them in a little pocket of white bias tape first. Then I'm going to cover those with the silver tape. It's pretty fiddly, but I might as well have all silver on this side. The magnets line up with the metal pieces and hold the edges together nicely. The next step is to add the strip for the magnets to hold it to the ceiling. Since doing the black fitted front curtain, I figured out a better way to work with the magnets. So I'm going to be sewing a long strip with little pockets to hold the magnets. I can then switch to a zipper foot to sew the pockets shut and attach the strip to the curtain at the same time. I finished all the edges of the back curtain with the same silver bias tape. Now I'm going to make a top strip with buttonholes that I can slip the clips into. My sewing machine has an automatic buttonhole setting, so I just have to turn this dial and the machine decides the direction and the type of stitch. Once I've sewn the buttonholes along the whole strip, I can cut them open. Now I can pin them to the top edge of the curtain and sew it in place. To set up the front curtain in the van, I just clipped the magnets to the rail I installed on the ceiling. I've added a little binder clip for the last magnet. The center flap lets me reach things in the front seat and close the flap again easily. These larger magnets on the back allow me to clip the center panel up out of the way. That way, if we have a heater set up on the box between the seats, the warm air can blow into the sleeping compartment without letting too much cold air in. But I'm hoping that between these curtains and the insulated window covers, we can keep the sleeping compartment warm with just our body heat. To set up the back curtain, I've slipped some small binder clips into the buttonholes, and I can clip them to the plastic trim. The little handles can be removed if I don't want them to show. My plans for the bed and kitchen sections include a headboard that comes up 27.5 inches from the floor of the van, so the back curtain only needs to cover the top 15 inches of the space. When I need to drive, the curtain can be rolled up and secured with Velcro straps. The curtain in the front comes down far enough to reach just below the level of the bed. Sorry for the really long break. Just as I was finishing this video, I had the opportunity to use a friend's wood shop, so I dropped everything to go work on the kitchen boxes. Our first weekend camping trip is booked for the end of April, so I'll do another video then of the curtains in action and do some tests to see how well they insulate. Thanks for watching, and I'll be posting a video all about the making of the kitchen boxes as soon as I can.